My name is Ethan, and we are a family of 7 living off-grid in the Missouri Ozarks. Not that kind of off-grid.
If I had a remembrance book.
Or that kind of off-grid. We're talking about this kind of off-grid. Not very sexy or old-timey, I know. Since when someone says off-grid, they can mean very different things. This is what I mean by off-grid. So the power just went out. We were headed to town, and the kids sent a text message saying, the power's out, so we're headed back home to fix the power. And this is the perfect example of what off-grid means. When the power goes out, you don't call the power company. I am the power company. So that's what we're doing, to go home and I'm gonna figure out what's wrong. So I don't know, something happened, it filled up the batteries, and it went too high, and
That shut off, but it's still charged.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
So now that we've defined our terms and looked at some lovely footage of small shrubbery and such things that my wife just shot the other day, let's see what off-grid means in practice. The door's shut. I will take door shutting over not shutting.
Ready to go?
I'm ready to go. I totally did that on purpose.
I know you did. It still startled me.
Yeah, me too. The kid was sick, and I was like,
We are off-grid, not Amish. We have to go to town now to get our off-grid supplies. We lived here for like 2.5 years. And when we needed to go get propane like we do today, we would drive an hour away because it was the only place we knew of that had a decent price. It was like the nearest Tractor Supply. And we'd go there for like the first 2.5 years. And then one day I'm talking to somebody and they're like, we should just go to the Champion store. And I'm like, the Champion store? What are you talking about? You know, it's like 15, 20 minutes away from our house.
Closed.
No.
It says closed.
Ah. Well, you win some, you lose some.
There's no way to know either because there's no internet presence at all.
No. Maybe they're always closed Mondays.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know what their normal hours are.
All right, well, we still gotta go get fuel, so we're gonna do that. Gasoline and diesel fuel. Now, the more I think about it, maybe we haven't defined terms properly yet. You see, there are nearly as many types of off-grid as there are people who claim to live in such a way. There's smokin' hot babe off-grid, chiseled man off-grid, smokin' hot babe and chiseled man off-grid. There's stoic mountain man off-grid. There's hippie off-grid. They just look happy. There's normal people off-grid, vegan off-grid, van life off-grid. Sometimes there are normal van life off-grid and vegan van life off-grid, but never normal vegan van life off-grid. There's Alaskan off-grid, pioneering off-grid, log cabin off-grid. There's guy who builds log cabin off-grid but only with old-timey hand tools. There's British Columbia off-grid. There's about 1,000, hey, what about living in a yurt off-grid? There's family off-grid and singles off-grid. There's a whole bunch of foreign countries off-grid. There's even LARPing off-grid. This guy is pretending to be a Viking. And then there's always Doug off-grid. For some reason, nothing confuses some people more than off-grid and I don't know, Amish? Off-grid means we have a horse and a buckboard. It's very odd to me. It's really simple. So we're not connected to the electrical grid, sewer, water, nothing like that. All of those things that we need, we have to provide for ourselves. Part of the issue with being off-grid is that some days, like today, you don't get any sunlight. And when this happens for really more than a day, then our batteries run low and we have to run a generator that charges our battery that runs our house.
You're using gasoline? That's like totally not off-grid.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
It's been one of those days. Do you think the truck's gonna, like we do round 2 here, truck's gonna hold together?
I think something's gonna go wrong with the truck now.
Well, I don't know.
It did make that weird noise earlier,
I
didn't it?
know, it's like the thunk. All right, well, here's our second attempt to go get, we have to get fuel because our batteries are at 30%.
Less than.
They were above 30.
Oh, you said 29 last time I checked.
They're below 30%. So we got to get some gasoline and get back here. And we'll see if we can make this work this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. There we go. Reverse.
You can't cross that. That is very, very, very flooded, babe.
Dad, we're not gonna cross it. We're not gonna cross it.
No, we are not going to cross it. That would be extremely dangerous.
Yeah, that'd sweep us right off.
You cannot go across that.
Unfortunately.
Wow, it is super flooded.
Yeah. But we can't cross the bridge. So we gotta go the long way around. It's an extra 10 minutes each way. For some reason, saying you're off-grid is like playing Nickelback in a public place. You're either going to be loved or despised. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of room for in-between. Maybe it's the overly glamorized and often unrealistic portrayal of what off-grid life is like. Maybe it's the fact that it's simply out of financial reach for some people. But some of us that are off-grid are just doing the best we can with what we have.
You got dinner here?
I don't think so, buddy.
It's been a while since we filled the diesel.
What'd you say?
It's been a while since we filled up the diesel.
Yeah, well, you know, this lasts for a while
It does.
in the posi. I hate these gas cans. Modern gas cans are the worst. Like, the worst. Click, click. So, this is off-grid. I mean, it'd be cool. Maybe if you were like, could do hydroelectric or something, you could be totally not reliant on anybody, but no, that's just not a reality, like, at all. I don't know. Everybody I know who's off-grid has a good generator. Well, we don't have to use it all the time. I would say infrequently, but we have to use it. And if we didn't have that, then we just have to shut things off. If it was going to be like this for a week, we'd have to ration and just basically turn on power for keep refrigerators, freezers cold, and then shut it off and live without power for a week. So we could live without power, but we'd be like this. When it's raining like this for multiple days, we would just end up being like, we would be pioneering. You know, I totally forgot one genre of off-grid. Millionaire off-grid. Sadly, I can't really relate. We're obviously off-grid by choice, but initially, I was just planning on connecting to power. When we bought the land, everyone said, oh, like the first 7 poles are free, or 5, I forget. It was like the first 1,000 feet was free. Not only was that not true, but you also either had to have a well in, or you had to have a building built. On top of that, they wanted $30,000 to run power. So I was like, yeah, not gonna do that. That's right, some people like us are off-grid simply because it made the most financial sense. We didn't do it because it would save the world, nor did we do it because we were preparing for the end of it. We did it because it made the most sense.
How dare you?
I know. Doing things for practical reasons without having some big ideological bent isn't exactly common these days. But hear me out. I think there's room for all of us. We can be off-grid, you can be off-grid. Heck, maybe everybody can be off-grid. I'm even cool with the LARPing Viking guy being off-grid. These new gas cans, they're all junk. Fuel cans are the worst.
It took away my step.
Here. Let's get it going in the far one. Did I pull a little too far away?
A little bit.
Well, we don't need to fill them all.
No.
I know we need propane.
That's what we actually really need.
I know we
Because we're on our last tank. So,
we struck out today, didn't we?
yes.
Nope. Are you filming me? Yeah. Nope. There. Bam. Totally did it. All right. So
Hi.
you have gotten a taste of what off-grid actually is, which is, I mean, I don't know why people get really hung up on like, you're not off-grid, you have satellite internet from Elon Musk. You're not off-grid, you have electricity. I don't get it. You have running water.
We even have a washing machine and a dryer.
We use propane. We are not like survivalists. I mean, the world might end, but we're not out here preparing for it. We'd make do if things got bad and there was no access to things like propane and fuel. We get by, but we're definitely not out here trying to prove something about how amazing our ability to rub two sticks together to start a fire is. It's just not what we're here to do.
Is it going to start this time?
Is what gonna start?
The truck.
Let's see.
Oh, we'll see.